Agriculture has completed one cycle and is turning its phase. Green Revolution proved detrimental in 5 decades. Indiscriminate use of pesticides and chemicals polluted the soil, water and the whole ecosystem. Of late, our farmers are looking back. Now we find organic movement everywhere. But most of the farmers are in confusion about both the systems. They question whether total organic is possible and feasible. This documentary film will discuss the necessity, possibility, and opportunity of organic farming in detail. Agriculture started along with human civilization, but it was totally dependent on nature. Use of chemical fertilizers started during 1850 itself in Western countries. But in India, chemical farming became popular with the Green Revolution, which started in 1965. High-yielding hybrids entered our farms. Chemical fertilizers became inevitable to get higher yield from these hybrids. This paved the way for indiscriminate use of chemical fertilizers. The scientific community supported chemical farming, neglecting the possible bad effects of chemicals in the long run. Government departments promoted this on priority. It is true that this green revolution produced enough food for the nation. But in due course of time, pests and diseases started attacking the crops. Poisonous pesticides entered the scene for crop protection. The hazardous effects of these poisons were quite evident very soon. Soft topsoil started getting hardened due to chemical residues. Groundwater was polluted with nitrates, sulfides, and other chemical impurities. The balance of nature was lost and pest attack ran out of control. Cabbage and cauliflower needed 8 to 10 sprays. Cotton needs 13 to 15 sprays. And grape consumes 30 to 40 sprays in a season. Then imagine the effect of chemicals. Consumers using these produce and the farmers spraying these pesticides are affected with asthma, allergy, cancer, and with many more health problems. We lost rich biodiversity and balanced nature before we got alerted. The volume of chemicals used has grown many times from 1965 to 2010, but the increase in production is only 4 times. Even this increase is not just due to chemicals. Increase in cultivated area and irrigation contributed a lot. Of course, only chemicals are not the sole culprits. Excess tillage, hybrids targeted only towards high yield, genetically modified crops and varieties, excess irrigation, unseasoned crop cultivation, unacclimatized crops and varieties, tendency of easy crop production, etc. are also the reasons for the pathetic situation of today's agriculture. Green Revolution has become the war against nature. But now, we have lost the war. The only option left with us is to surrender to nature again. Let us study the ill effects of chemicals now. Crop and varietal diversity is lost due to the popularity of hybrids. Monocropping is common everywhere. Quality of food has come down even though the production is more. Use of organic manures decreased with the application of high amounts of chemical fertilizers. Hence, the humus content of the soil has come down. This affected the soil structure and hence the aeration. It led to the decrease of useful aerobic microbes in the soil. Water holding capacity of the soil and percolation of rainwater has decreased. Runoff water eroded fertile topsoil. Absorption of nutrient was affected due to imbalanced soil pH. Soil microbial activity is quite essential to make the nutrients available for plants. Destruction of soil microflora badly affected the nutrient uptake by plants. In chemical farming, only 20 to 30% of the nutrients get absorbed. The remaining portion dissolves in the water quickly, creating groundwater pollution. Chemical residues of the fertilizers accumulated in the soil making it useless for crop production. Excess irrigation created saline and marshy lands. Decrease in organic matter and imbalanced chemical nutrition led to micronutrient deficiency. Due to mass destruction of useful predators and decrease in disease resistance of the plants, crops became easily susceptible to pests and diseases. This increased the application of chemical pesticides again. Even then, the productivity is coming down year by year. Chemical residues like nitrates, sulfides, and heavy metals have accumulated in soil, water, and crops. Ultimately, the produce from chemical farming has lost its food value. Chemically adulterated food led to serious health problems for consumers. Just-born babies get diabetes. Hair turns grey by 20 years of age itself. Cancer, the most common deadly disease of today, has a direct link with pesticide adulteration of the food. Farmers have to purchase hybrid seeds, fertilizers, and pesticides from outside. Hence, the cost of production has gone up. Profit from farming became elusive. This is the major reason for a sudden increase in suicide cases of farmers. The younger generations of farmers are searching for opportunities in cities. The government is announcing loan packages instead of attending to the real cause for the situation. Even millionaires have to eat food. If the situation continues for a longer period, poor people may have to die due to hunger. Sustainable agriculture is the only solution for this complicated situation. The direction is very clear, but reaching the destination is not so easy. However, for the survival of 70 billion people on this earth, this U-turn is inevitable. Now let us study the non-chemical methods of farming. Again, many new terminologies like organic, natural, zero tillage, sustainable, biodynamic, Vedic agriculture, etc. have created confusion in the minds of farmers. We have to find alternative ways of nourishing and protecting the crops after avoiding the usage of chemicals. The methods mentioned above follow different ways for this purpose. The basic principles of all these methods are the same. That is, using locally available natural inputs, keeping away from chemicals, and following nature. We have compiled all simple ways of non-chemical farming under the title Organic Farming. Organic farming should improve the health of plants and other living creatures. It must enrich and protect biodiversity. Hence, it is a broad-based farm management system. The main features of organic farming include optimum use and conservation of locally available natural inputs, increasing soil fertility over a period of time, and protecting soil microflora, etc. Organic farming should produce healthy food to feed and to protect the health of the consumers. Self-dependence for farm inputs will increase the profitability of crop production. If farming becomes a profitable occupation, the migration of the population to cities will come down. Thus, organic farming can give a solution for destruction of environment, pollution, and social imbalances also. Many of us still have a doubt whether this organic farming will feed 125 crore people of the country. To get the answer, one has to go through the production statistics of the pre-Green Revolution of Indian agriculture. District Commissioner of Chengalpattu district of Tamil Nadu noted that during 1880 to 85, the paddy yield was 40 quintals per acre. But now, with all chemical fertilizers and pesticides, the same farmers are not getting even half of that yield. It is true that the yield drops while changing from chemical to organic method. But organic farming will increase soil fertility and hence the productivity in the long run. Even the pest and disease incidents will come down. It is undoubtedly proved that the systematic organic farming gives sustainable higher yield. Hence, the agriculture scientists took a U-turn in recent years and are supporting organic farming movement. Soil should be soft enough so that it can be opened like this by hand. It must have sufficient organic matter so that rainwater percolates easily. In scientific terms, let the soil pH be between 6.5 and 7.5. Plants can absorb the nutrients only with the help of microbial activity. In very high or low pH soil, microbes cannot survive or work efficiently. This affects the availability of nutrients, absorption, seed germination, and crop health, etc. Other characteristics of good soil are more than 0.5% organic carbon, 100 kilograms of nitrogen, 10 kilograms of phosphorus, and 50 kilograms of potash per acre in available form. Humus of the soil is the food and shelter for soil microbes. High humus content improves the soil structure. It enables better soil aeration. Thus, the plant roots and soil microbes get enough oxygen. Soil temperature remains under control. Good volume of rainwater percolates, and hence the availability of soil moisture to the plant improves. Water holding capacity of this soil is more. It creates healthy soil microclimate which supports microbial activity. This condition is called as living soil. Ultimately, the plant growth and yield improves. Produce from this kind of crop will have better nutrient content and taste. IFORM is the World Federation of Organic Movement Organizations. This was established in 1972 in France. This has member organizations in most of the countries. IFORM sets the guidelines for organic farming at the international level. The Indian government formulated National Standards for Organic Production, or NSOP, in the year 2000. It is mandatory to follow NSOP to get organic certificate. NSOP suggests growing crops and varieties which adapts and comes up well in the locality. These crops must have pest and disease resistance. Organic farmers must protect and enrich crop and varietal diversity. Use the seeds from organically grown crops. If it is not available, use chemically untreated seeds from the conventional crops. There is no objection for the cultivation of hybrids, but genetically modified crops and varieties are not permitted. It is advised to use the manure of plant, animal, microbial, and natural origin. Chemical fertilizers, herbicides, hormones, dyes, and pesticides are strictly not allowed. To be specific, use organic manures such as farmyard manure, poultry manure, cow dung slurry, animal urine, crop residues, green manures, etc., produced on organic farms. But human excreta is not permitted. Restricted use of inputs produced outside the organic farm, such as blood meal, bone meal, compost, cow dung manure, fish meal, city waste, earthworm compost, etc., is allowed after confirming the absence of chemical impurities. Likewise, limited use of calcium and magnesium stone, sulfate of potash, rock phosphate, wood ash, potassium sulfate, sulfur, boron, iron, manganese, molybdenum, and zinc is allowed. Avoid burning of organic matter and destruction of forest. Take necessary measures for the conservation of soil and water. Use machines and implements used in chemical farming only after cleaning. Let us see the methods of supply of necessary nutrients in organic farming in detail. The nutrient content of various organic manures is like this. Production of organic manures is a big business now. The producers of organic inputs must get Organic Input Certificate. Only certified inputs are allowed in organic farming. These manures should have brown or black color and 15 to 25% moisture. It should not have any bad smell. These manures must have a minimum of 12% organic carbon, 0.8% nitrogen, 0.4% phosphorus and 0.4% potash. Carbon to nitrogen ratio should be at least 20:1 and pH must be in between 6.5 and 7.5. The upper limit of heavy metals in the organic manures is like this. Now let us know the methods of production and usage of various organic manures. Most of the traditional farmers use substandard manures. In the Western Ghat regions, this kind of manure pits of 8 to 10 feet depth are common. Since it is in an open place, it gets wet during rains and dries up under the hot sun, losing most of its nutrients. Excess heat accumulates in deeper layers due to lack of aeration. Useful aerobic microbes die and manure becomes a heap of pathogens. Manure decays instead of decomposition. This manure is of poor quality and is heaped on the farm well before its incorporation into the soil. The manure dries up and loses its nutrients here also. This substandard manure cannot give expected results. Let the manure pit be of 3-foot depth, protected from rainwater and direct sun. It is better if the materials are heaped on the ground itself. Adding sheep and poultry manures, wood ash and dicot herbages with the farm wastes will improve the nutrient content of the manure. Japanese method of composting is popular for quick and good quality manure production. Here, bricks are used to build a tank above the ground. Let the height and width be 3 feet each. Length is according to your convenience. The main point is to have holes on the walls like this for aeration. We can even use wood like this to save cost. Put fibrous materials at the bottom. Then put a layer of cow dung. Then spread dry leaves and farm waste in a layer. Spread cow dung again. Repeat these layers till the tank is full. Put dicot herbage and green materials on the top layer. At the end, cover it with fertile topsoil layer. Spread straw or dry leaves on the pit to avoid drying. Manure will decompose fully within 2 to 3 months in this method. Nutrient content of the compost from this Japanese method is better than the sunken pit. This is the aerobic method of composting. Raw materials are heaped on the hard floor. Let the height and width of the heap be 5 to 6 feet each. Length is according to your convenience. Shade net is spread on the pendal to avoid direct sunlight. Spread dry leaves, organic farm waste, dicot herbage, wood ash, etc. in layers. Wet each layer with cow dung slurry and water. It is better if neem and castor cakes, rock phosphate, sheep and poultry manures, etc. are added. It is desirable to use organic matter decomposition microbial mixture for fast and better decomposition. This contains nitrogen fixing and phosphorus solubilizing bacteria, mycorrhiza for potash, pleurotus fungus for fiber degradation, and trichoderma for pathogen control. If this OMD microbial mixture is not available, use compost which was prepared using such mixture. Or at least put a layer of fertile soil. Keep the heap moist by sprinkling water. Spreading cow dung slurry and panchagavya will give better result. Insert bamboo or perforated PVC pipe in the heap for better aeration. Compost will be ready for use within 1.5 months itself in this aerobic method. Even coconut coir pith becomes good compost if OMD mixture is used. But it takes 3 months' time for decomposition. Most of the commercial organic manure producers follow this method. Use of 2 tons of this compost gives better result than 5 tons of conventional manures. We can get still better compost by feeding this to earthworms. Vermicompost is very popular among organic farmers. There are 2 types of earthworms. One type of worm burrows deep in the soil and the other one lives in the topsoil. Topsoil earthworms feed 10% of soil and 90% of organic matter. It eats equal to its body weight and puts out every day. Earthworms add 30 to 40 kilograms of nitrogen per acre per year. Vermicompost is rich in growth regulators and hormones. Hence, it is the complete manure. Vermicompost has egg cases too. If the farm has enough moisture content and organic matter, earthworms develop from the eggs and produce compost there itself. We need not apply vermicompost again. We may give vermicompost to all crops. Apply 1 ton of vermicompost for field crops at the time of sowing or in the row later. Adding ½ ton of vermicompost to seed beds will improve the growth and health of the seedling. Then give ½ kilogram of vermicompost to each plant at the time of replanting and ½ kilogram after 45 days. Apply 5 to 10 kilograms of vermicompost per year to bigger trees. Pour water to the vermi tanks and collect the drained water as vermi wash. This is an excellent mixture of major and micronutrients, growth regulators and hormones. Even it is a good repellent of pests and diseases. We can get excellent crop by spraying vermi wash. Let us study this method of production of vermicompost now. Bigger earthworms from Africa are in use for this purpose. Vermicompost production capacity of these worms is much higher than our indigenous worms. It grows up to 5 to 6 inches and lives up to 2.5 years. It prefers 25 to 30 degrees centigrade temperature and 40 to 45% moisture. We may feed these worms with dry leaves, crop residues, sugarcane waste, etc. But avoid Gliricidia flowers and tobacco plant. Spray water and mix cow dung to the raw material and heap under shade for 3 to 4 weeks. Then, this partially decomposed material is fed to the earthworms. If the fresh farm waste is given directly, heat generated during decomposition may kill the worms. It is better to provide roof for vermicompost tanks to avoid rain and direct sun. Normally, tanks are built with stone or cement for this purpose. However, many farmers follow heap method like this under shade. Even portable vermi tanks of this type are also seen. It is advised to limit the width of the tanks to 3 to 4 feet and height to 2 to 3 feet. Length is according to your convenience. Provide a hole at the bottom of the tank to drain excess water. Put a layer of coarse material like coconut husk at the bottom of the tank. This is necessary to drain excess water and vermi-wash. Then put a layer of organic waste for half feet height. Spread fresh cow dung or slurry on it. Put another layer of organic material. Repeat these layers till the tank is full. Then spread earthworms on the top at the rate of 25 worms per square feet. If worms are not available, spread fresh moist vermicompost. The eggs in this compost will hatch to produce tiny worms, but it will take more time to produce compost. Spray water to maintain 40 to 45% moisture. The compost will be ready within 2 to 3 months, depending on the raw material. The worms go deep into the tank if water is not given for 3 to 4 days. Then collect the vermicompost from the top. Sieve this compost after drying excess moisture. Continue the production of vermicompost by spreading the raw material again into the tank. Birds, ants, rats and mice are the enemies of these earthworms. It is better to put stone slabs or cement concrete to the floor of the vermicompost shed. Water channel around the vermi tank or spreading wood ash will avoid ants. But do not use any pesticides for this purpose. Production of vermicompost is a rural, commercial, subsidiary activity now. This can generate an attractive income for small farmers and landless people. Many big dairies sell vermicompost instead of dung to generate additional income. Panchagavya for agriculture use is also becoming popular now. This is a Vedic concept. We are giving a representative composition of Panchagavya out of many combinations in use. Take a plastic barrel or cement tank and put 3 liters of cow urine, 2 liters of cooled boiled cow milk, 2 liters of curd, 10 bananas, 3 liters of tender coconut water, and 1 kilogram of brown jaggery dissolved in 3 liters of water. In another barrel, mix 5 kilograms of fresh cow dung and 1 liter of cow ghee. Mix the content of these barrels after keeping them separately for 3 days. Then keep it for 7 days. Keep on stirring the mixture once in a day with a wooden stick. Filter this mixture through a net and keep the barrel covered with a cloth to the open top. This Panchagavya may be used up to 15 to 20 days. This is a rich mixture of micronutrients, hormones, plant growth regulators, and useful microorganisms. This is a good repellent of pests and diseases also. Panchagavya may be sprayed to the crops or drenched to the base of the plant. It may be spread at the time of compost production. Excellent result is recorded everywhere with the use of Panchagavya. Let us know one more method of supplying nutrients. Mix 10 kilograms of fresh cow dung, 10 liters of cow urine, 1 kilogram of jaggery, and 100 liters of water in a tank or barrel. Use this mixture on next day with irrigation water at the rate of 500 liters per acre. For spraying, mix 10 kilograms of cow dung, 10 liters of cow urine, 1 kilogram of jaggery, and 10 liters of water in a tank. Filter this mixture on the next day and spray to the crop at the rate of 100 milliliters per liter of water. Spraying this extract 2 to 3 times for any crop will give good result. We find biodigesters in many farms in recent years. Locally available herbages are digested in a tank like this. Dicot plants and plants well known for pest and disease control are selected on priority. Some farmers put neem cake, sheep and poultry manure, vermicompost, etc. in bags and immerse them in the same tank. Extract collected in the tank or the digester is filtered and given to the crop with irrigation water. Many farmers spray this extract directly to the crop. According to the farmer's experience, this extract from the biodigester improves crop health and growth. We find farmhouses and cattle shed at a height just next to the garden in Western Ghats region. Many farmers stop producing farmyard manure due to labor shortage. Transporting the manure needs lot of manpower and leads to nutrient loss also. Hence, these farmers flow biogas slurry directly to the garden through pipelines. Slurry is collected in a tank and diluted with additional water. Leaves, straws, etc. are cleaned to avoid clogging of pipeline. This mixture flows to the garden by gravity. Slurry is put to the base of each tree with the help of hose pipes. Farmers without this benefit of slope use slurry pump. Slurry is transported in a tanker to the garden if the distance is more. Organic waste available on the farm is put around the tree base and slurry is poured on it twice a year. This may be called as in situ manure production. Here, the wastage of nutrients is very minimal. Earthworms become active and produce vermicompost. This method gives very good result if the moisture is maintained throughout the year in the garden. This method is termed as slurrigation. Green manuring is one more effective method of supplying nutrients. Leguminous plants are grown on the farm or outside and the herbage is mixed in the soil. This enriches the humus and nutrient content of the soil. It improves the soil structure also. Sun hemp, diancha, sesbania, etc. are the common green manuring species grown on the farm. These plants are cut and ploughed into the soil just before flowering. Adding green manures 2 to 3 weeks before planting of the main crop will give good result. Sun hemp is grown between rows of sugarcane, banana, mulberry, etc. It is incorporated into the soil after 4 weeks. Black gram, green gram and cowpea are also in use as green manure crops. Sun hemp, horse gram, etc. are grown in open spaces of mango and other plantations. This helps even for weed control. Root knots of these leguminous plants store nitrogen. Subabul, Gliricidia, Sesbania, etc. are grown outside the farm or along the fence. Herbage is cut and used as green manure. Green manuring once in 2 years also brings excellent crop improvement. Non-edible oil cakes are the rich sources of plant nutrients. Neem cake is not only useful for nutrient supply but also for pest and disease control. Castor and Pongamia cakes are the other cakes in use. Water fern azolla is becoming popular in recent years as a green manure and cattle feed. Blue-green algae called anabena, present in the folds of leaves, fixes atmospheric nitrogen. Azolla provides 25 kilograms of nitrogen per acre in a season. It can grow and cover the whole water surface of paddy field in 15 days. It is puddled into the soil as green manure 1 week before transplanting the paddy seedlings. Tank silt is lifted after the water dries up in summer and spread in the field. This is a popular practice in plains. Adding tank silt can give good crop for 2 to 3 years. Wood ash is also a good source of plant nutrients. Biofertilizer is another important source of nutrients. This is a mixture of microorganisms supplying plant nutrients by fixation or solubilization. Rhizobium is the most popular biofertilizer. This bacterium lives in the root knots of leguminous plants and fixes atmospheric nitrogen. Rhizobium plays an important role in dicot grams like red gram, black gram, green gram, Bengal gram, etc. and in oil seeds like groundnut and soya bean. Rhizobium fixes 20 to 40 kilograms of nitrogen per acre per season. Thus, it meets 80 to 90% of nitrogen requirement of the crop naturally. Rhizobium treatment in these leguminous crops will bring 15 to 30% improvement in yield. Apart from that, sizable amounts of nitrogen remains in the soil and is utilized by the next crop. However, the effectiveness of biofertilizer largely depends on soil type, climatic condition, pest and disease management method, fertilizer use, strain of the microorganism used, and method of application, etc. Cost of biofertilizer is very less. For seed treatment, it will be 10 rupees per acre. Rhizobium is grown in the laboratory, mixed with charcoal powder and supplied to the farmers. Prepare jaggery solution. Smear the sticky solution on the seed. Spread the biofertilizer on it and mix thoroughly. It sticks well on the seeds due to jaggery solution. Dry the seeds under shade and use it for sowing as early as possible. Seed treatment of the biofertilizer is the easiest and effective method. There are few more biofertilizers in use. Azotobacter is the free-living nitrogen-fixing bacteria around the plant roots. It is beneficial for vegetables and all other crop plants. Use of this broad-spectrum biofertilizer can bring up to 20% yield improvement in paddy, wheat, sorghum, maize, sugarcane, cotton, potato, sunflower and other crops. Azotobacter can fix 10 kilograms of atmospheric nitrogen per acre in a season. Apart from this, it helps for better seed germination, more root proliferation, early flowering and maturity also. Azotobacter is used by seed treatment, dipping plant roots, spreading to the soil, or by mixing while preparing compost. Azotobacter synthesizes some plant growth substances like vitamin B, IAA, gibberellins, cytokinins, etc. and stores them in the soil, which improves the crop growth. Azotobacter produces some antibiotic substances which hinder the development of pathogenic fungi, bacteria and viruses. It improves the availability of phosphorus also. Azospirillum is another bacterium in use as biofertilizer. This is also a free-living nitrogen-fixing microorganism. Application is similar to Azotobacter. Azospirillum gives good result in sorghum, minor millets, maize, sugarcane and wheat. Apart from this, nitrogen-fixing bacteria, VA mycorrhiza is used to improve the availability of phosphorus, zinc, copper and sulfur. This is a hair-like primitive plant which lives in association with plant roots. It gets food from the plant and helps the plant to absorb water and nutrients. The main constraint of VAM is that it cannot be cultured separately. It needs to be maintained with host plant itself. Roots of these host plant is applied to add mycorrhiza to the field. Phosphorus gets fixed and becomes unavailable to the plant at very high or low pH levels. To make it available, phosphorus solubilizing bacteria or PSB is in use. This can release 12 kilograms of phosphorus per acre in a season. PSB is effective for paddy, minor millet, oilseeds, dicot grams and vegetables. This bacterium may be used for seed treatment, dipping roots or spreading to the soil directly. 200 grams of PSB is necessary for seed treatment for medium-sized seeds like groundnut or wheat. For small seeds, 100 grams of PSB is enough. For root dipping method, mix 1 kilogram of PSB biofertilizer in 10 to 15 liters of water. Dip the roots of the seedlings in the mixture for 5 minutes and plant as early as possible. This dipping method is useful for transplanted crops like vegetables and paddy. For spreading directly to the field, mix 3 to 5 kilograms of PSP with 50 kilograms of farmyard manure and apply. Keep any biofertilizer in a cool place without direct sunlight. Avoid contact with fertilizer or any chemical. Do not use any biofertilizer after its expiry date. In Rhizobium, there are separate strains for different crops. Using only the specified strain will give good result. Cover crops and mulching are becoming popular again. You find creepers covering the whole area in this garden. Here, green herbages are being spread. In this banana plantation, the wastage of the same crop is spread. Growing cover crops in rubber plantation is a popular practice. It is useful for weed control and soil and moisture conservation. Mulching increases soil microbial activity and hence the soil becomes living soil. Decomposition of mulch adds organic matter to the soil. Percolation of rainwater improves. Selecting leguminous species for the purpose of cover crops is still better. Agroforestry is the important component of organic farming. Growing useful plants and trees as live fence and in available free spaces provide organic matter for manuring, wood for agriculture use and firewood. Green manure and fodder species are the better choice for agroforestry. It provides food and shelter for honeybees and birds. Hence, it enriches the biodiversity of the farm. Live fence is useful as windbreaker in banana plantation. Thus, agroforestry is the integral part of organic farming. Intercropping and mixed cropping are also some of the most important features of organic farming. Generally, leguminous crops are intercropped with monocot crops. Sorghum red gram cowpea, sugarcane soyabean, maize red gram, banana cowpea, etc. are the popular combinations. Planning these combinations depends on crop duration, growth nature, height, spreading of roots, etc. Dicot crops improve the soil fertility apart from crop yield. This improves the growth and yield of monocot crops. Monocropping leads to deficiency of micronutrients. Multiple cropping systems are helpful even for weed, pest, and disease management. Likewise, crop rotation is useful in organic farming. Paddy crop in Kharif season and groundnut, black gram, green gram, cowpea, etc. in Rabi season is a popular practice in traditional paddy area. Leguminous crop in the crop cycle improves the soil fertility and the next monocot crop gets the benefit. Crop rotation helps to break pest and disease buildup also. Deep-rooted crops in the crop cycle bring nutrients from deeper layers to the topsoil. Deep and excess ploughing is not advisable in organic farming. Unnecessary ploughing disturbs the soil structure and leads to soil erosion. Tilling is inevitable in annual crops, but in plantations, avoid intercultivation and cut off the weed and use it for mulching. This helps for weed control and conservation of moisture. It creates microclimate and adds humus to the soil. Excess irrigation is not good. It leads to the depletion of nutrients apart from the wastage of water. Salts in the deeper layer of alkaline soil come to upper layer due to over-irrigation and makes the soil saline. Micro or sprinkler irrigation is better in organic farming to maintain humid microclimate and for better decomposition of organic matter. Weed is not the enemy of crops. Some weeds bring nutrients from deeper layer of soil to the upper layer. Cutting the weed before flowering is the better practice. We may use small rotary tiller for intercultivation. Some weeds like touch-me-not and Cassia tora belong to the legume group, which have nitrogen storage in root knots to enrich soil fertility. Until now, we have studied the necessity of organic farming, principles, national policy, alternative methods of nutrient supply, etc. in detail. The second part of this film will cover pest and disease management in organic farming, organic certification, animal husbandry, and beekeeping in organic method, etc. Let us meet again in the next part of this film.